Hello and welcome to another video by the wget Computer Club. This is Tom at the club. Today we're going to be talking about compiling software, specifically GDB. The reasoning for this is, at least the initial reasoning is, I went to install GDB on this Parrot OS Hack the Box edition and it told me no. So I figured, okay, I'll leave it. I'm not going to do anything. And then I thought, you know what, let's just go over this, because it's a thing that is usually quite useful. And if you're going to use Linux, it's a good idea to know how to at least install packages from the source code. So we can actually get the source code to GDB. First we need to go and do a little search and have a look. But in general, I know for a fact it's going to be on the GNU.org site. So we can kind of go off and take a look for that. So let's go to Google. Let's take a look for the GNU site. Yeah. So we're looking for GNU.org. There we go. Got GNU.org. So this is where all the Free Software Foundation stuff is. When I say Free Software Foundation, I'm talking more like when we think about the Linux operating system, we think of really distributions, which is really the Linux kernel, which is Linux, and some GNU toolchain, which is GNU. So those two things stuck together is what we think of as Linux today. So let's go and take a look. So what we actually want, we want the FTP site to this so we can go and take some stuff. Now the nice thing is we can literally just do, instead of www, FTP. And we don't want a web page, so we just want the FTP base directory for the moment. So we take a look, it's just got a load of information here, and then we have these directories. Now we actually want the GNU directory, and inside the GNU directory are all the GNU tools, so we could download any of these source codes and try and compile them. But the one that I want is GDB, so we're going to have a look. GDB, there we go. So let's go into GDB. It goes all the way from version 5 to I think version 13 or something. I currently like using version 12, so we'll use let's have a look, 12.1. We'll get the tar gz file. Now we can either click this and download, or we can right click and copy the link. If I copy the link, let's do it in the here. So I'll use wget, and I'll get the actual tar.gz file. So when we're compiling something, we normally get the source code in archive format such as this. And then once we've got that source code, we do need to then uncompress it or uncompile it or untar it in this sense with the gzip. So we can use tar for this. Tar, we use -x for extract, v for verbose, z for gzip format, f to say what file we want. So now the file that we want is this GDB 12.1 tar.gz. And then it extracts into a GDB-12.1 folder. So we now can change directory into that folder, but I'll clear screen first. So we'll cd into GDB-12.1. Now if I do a quick ls to have a look at the files, we've got a lot of different files. We've got a readme, sometimes good to look at the readme if you wish to. I know that the normal sort of standard way of installing from source in Linux is to use a make file as standard. Now for the GNU toolchain, it's usually using a configure to take a look at the current layout of the actual current system, which will then tell it certain areas where certain tools are. So we can do that with a .configure, and that's using this ./configure. / meaning current directory, configure being this here. So let's run that. Notice how it's checking a few things, figuring out where to find certain tools. It's now created a make file. Notice at the end. So now that we've got this make file, we can use GNU make. So we can just say make, and that will read the make file and do the actions within it, which is basically compiling the software. Now, we may come across an error near the end, depending upon whether all of the dependencies are met. One dependency that I've noted in some distributions is the libgpm is sometimes missing. If libgpm is missing in any sort of Ubuntu or Debian based system, we can do a sudo apt install of libgpm-dev, and that will give us the GPM development libraries. But we'll let it go through and see. This may take some time at the moment, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video and then we'll resume as soon as we get to a point where it's either give us an error or completed the compilation. Okay, looks like we're in a good situation. It doesn't look like it's give us some major league errors or anything. So now that we've actually compiled it, we should be able to actually install it. So when it installs it, I think it's going to install it probably to like use a shared bin or something like that, I don't know. But it'll be in the make file really as to where it puts it, but we can always find it. That's not a problem. So in essence, we now have this application built. We don't have it in the path, we don't have it anywhere yet. So what we can do a make install, and when we press enter, it's going to go off and install it in the correct folder. But if you'll notice, it's going to sort of like do that. And let's run GDB to make sure we can see it. Command not found. That's because we've got two errors. The reason for this is we needed to actually be root to be allowed to install stuff. Notice how it's give us these errors, cannot create regular file. And if we look up a little bit, it says permission denied. And that's because we're not root. We're not allowed to install things. So to do this, we can use an application or a program called sudo. So sudo superuser do sudo. So for this, we just say sudo and then the command which we want to run. So now we want to run a sudo make install and press enter. Give it our super secret password. And notice how it's done a lot more along the screen. And it's saying nothing to be done for install target, leaving directory. Now if we run GDB, we have GDB installed. Let's run the sort of versioning on it. So GDB -- version, and it's 12.1. The one what we just compiled is done. Now we can say which GDB, and this will give us where it is. It's user local bin GDB. So how cool is that? We've finally gone and compiled and installed GDB. Now the compilation and stuff in this sort of pattern is going to be pretty much similar across the board. Most standardized applications will have a basically process of /configure. Once you've done your /configure, you would then do a make, then you do a sudo make install, and you can chain them together this way. So this would do the .configure. Once configure is finished with the double ampersand, what that says is if this finishes successfully, then do the next thing. So then do the make. Then if this finishes successfully based upon the ampersands, it'll do a sudo make install. So you can actually do all this on one line and just leave it going. Okay, I'm going to leave this in the description as well, so you can do it just in the one line if you wish. I'll also leave links to the GDB release and the other bits and pieces. So hopefully this has been useful. Basically that's pretty much it. You've successfully compiled and installed GDB from source in Parrot OS HTB edition. That being said, I'm going to leave you to it now. It's been awesome. I hope you have a good day, evening, night, whatever time you're watching this. Remember though, if you like the video, feel free to give us a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. It's always appreciated. If you've got any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave a comment on the video. And also, if you want to see updates of our content as and when it comes out, remember to subscribe, and also do that sort of bell notification. Make sure you click the bell, as it does make a difference as far as notifications concerned. Have a good one.